Hi, everyone. It's Joseph, and welcome and awesome for tuning in and watching this particular documentary. This is going to be a great documentary, as many of the documents we have over the last year have put together. You can witness on YouTube, iConixxx Live, and you can always check us out on our social media platform to actually get more information. But for right now, today, what I'd like you to do is I always say, get a pen, get a paper, because she's going to have a tale. And it's a great one, a great tale of success. We all need that at this particular time to feel great about us coming out of a pandemic. And I want to just say that this woman is amazing and awesome and blessed to know her. I'm also blessed to know my co-hostess, Chris Sorby, who is an amazing icon. And really together, it has been a pleasure to have her expertise as we develop these documentaries. I want to introduce to you Chris Sorby from Oxford, England. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Joseph. How are
Did I
you
almost
doing?
did I almost get that accent in there? Pretty
Oh yeah,
soon.
yeah. You're doing perfect, but just don't give up the day job, okay?
I won't.
Anyway, I'm so excited about our guest, who, like you said rightly, Joseph, you know very well. This lady was born in Lima, Peru. She was raised by her grandparents. In her early teens, she joined her parents in the darkest part of downtown LA. As a teenager, she was a victim of abuse and rape several times, then exposed to a life of drug and arms dealing. Her life's experiences made her who she is now. Let's meet this phenomenal lady, our guest today, Julia Anderson. Hey, Julia.
Thank you. Thank you
Hello,
so
Julia.
much. Thank you. Hi, Joseph. How are you guys? Thank you for that.
Good. And we're delighted to have you to inspire so many people and without sounding sexist, to also inspire a lot of women, because your story totally moved me. So I'm going to be digging deep, Julia, with the questions I'm going to ask you. And please feel free to say, I can't answer that, or I don't want to answer that. Just, be the wonderful lady that you are. And we'll just accept whatever you give us. So, Julia, your early life was circled around abuse and crime. How did this happen?
Well, yes. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm very happy to share this, because I'm sure that I am not the only person in the world who experiences, such a traumatic experience at a young age. And so I hope that this definitely helps and encourages other people like myself. I wasn't necessarily raised by my grandparents. I was raised by my parents, but when they left, they migrated to the United States. We stayed with our grandparents. And then after being with our grandparents for about a year and a half, my parents worked 3 jobs in the United States to save the money to pay for us to go to the United States. And so my sister and I was 8, my sister was 9 years old, and we crossed the border together with a bunch of strangers, like people are still doing today, which is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous journey, but we were luckily very fortunate, very blessed to get through that and get to Los Angeles, as you said, safe, But once we got there to Los Angeles, we did not know that we were in a city or an area that was, infested with the gangs. There was a lot of gangs, and we went to school, which was first elementary school, then middle school. And, we just experienced a lot of bullying, and a lot of things happened. And at home, things weren't okay. My parents were, at that time, now they're wonderful people. But at the time, they were young, they weren't experienced, they were kind of violent, to say the least, and partying and everything. And so our family was very dysfunctional. And I think we found, comfort and acceptance, and believe it or not, at that time, at that age, peace in this group of people who were in gangs. And that's how we ended up, without purposely knowing that we were getting involved, and something like that, we got into the gangs. And that's what led to, you know, the life of crime and a lot of things that followed.
Wow. I mean, right there, I'm totally speechless. I don't know about you. Well, Joseph, you're never speechless. What are you going to ask, Julia?
You're right. I'm not speechless. You know, I've always been amazed at how you've taken yourself from not really being submersed into this industry and speak to the ones that aren't submersed into this industry, but become this industry, right? Such as what you did when I first met you at Hair You Wear, right? I don't know how you transitioned yourself from everything that you're talking to me about into a world where you had quite an authoritative big position. So tell me how that transition, how did you transition yourself into the world of hair restoration?
Yes, you know what? It's hard for everyone, I would say, I would imagine, to transition from someone that comes from a dysfunctional home and then be in a dysfunctional environment like a gang where, you know, like Chris said, you know, I was raped several times. At the time, I didn't see it as, you know, as I see it today. But, you know, and then in drugs and in alcohol and all that, at a very young age, you know, you could very much just kind of go that route, you know. But there's a very interesting story. There's a very interesting part of my life that happened where I actually heard a voice. And at the time, I didn't know what that voice was. And I think I've shared this with you before, Joseph, you know, and today I can say that, you know, I am a Christian person. I am a believer. I have faith. And I know that it was the voice of God. And it was really a miracle what happened to me. I mean, it was a miracle because I went from drug dealing and doing the stuff that the gangs do, fighting in the street, you know, everything that a person does when they're young and they're around people that are also searching for love, also searching for comfort and to be part of something. So when that happened to me at the age of 17 years old, I had no choice but to leave the gang because I was a different person inside. And I don't know how to explain that any other than it was just a miracle. So I decided to leave California, Los Angeles, as a new person. And I told my father, who I didn't have a good relationship with at the time, and he ended up buying me a ticket to go to Florida. And in Florida, I lived with my aunt and I worked. And as a miracle, also, I got a job as a receptionist. At the time, it was Metropolitan. I don't know if you remember HRS, with Jules Bornstein was the owner.
Mm-hmm.
And I say it was a miracle because he interviewed me when he didn't even talk to too many people. The lady that was supposed to interview me was gone for lunch and took longer than she was supposed to. He saw me at the reception area, took me into his office and personally interviewed me, which he couldn't even believe he did after we talked about it years later. And he gave me a job when I had no experience in anything. I mean, I had no experience in answering the phone, taking messages, customer service, nothing. And he gave me the job. And he said to me, the reason why I'm giving you the job is because there's something special about you and we need people like you around. And I got that job. Years later, that franchise sold, that company that was franchising sold, and they sold it to Hair You Wear. And Hair You Wear, American Hairlines, and then American Hairlines sold to Hair You Wear. And I ended up going through that journey, growing, you know, step by step in the company. And like you said, I was director of sales and marketing for Hair You Wear for many years. So to answer your question, how do I transition? You know, how does a person transition from coming from a life of things that are not well, that are not sane, that are not encouraging, to a position where you can actually lead people and you can help people and motivate people, because it's absolutely important. Because I believe with whatever it is you have, you know, wherever it is you're born, if you're born in a hill, if you're born in the Amazon, if you're born in a trailer park, if you're born in downtown LA, no matter where you're born, you have to take what you have and you have to make it something special so that other people can get out of where they're at, right? I mean, I think that
Yeah.
that is our responsibility. It's our responsibility. And so that's what I did. I mean, I say to you guys that, you know, I have faith. I believe in God. I believe there's a purpose for my life. And I just kept growing in that and just becoming more secure about who I was today and not who I was yesterday or the year before or 10 years ago, you know, and I constantly reminded myself that I had to give myself a chance. You know, we have to give ourselves a chance. We have to cut ourselves some slack and allow ourselves to understand that the things that happen sometimes are not in your control, but some things are, and some things are your mistakes. Some things I did that were my own fault. Okay. But you have to forgive yourself. You have to allow yourself to go through the process of forgiveness for yourself so that you can shell that out and then just become the person that you need to become, you know?
Beautiful.
Julia, if you step out of your own body and you were that guy that was interviewing you when you'd been standing at that reception desk and he said, we need people like you, can you define what it was that he saw in you that we could look for in others to get the right people to be that front desk person? Because it's so important as the very first contact that we have as clients with our salons. So what do you think he saw in you that appealed to him?
I think that it was enthusiasm.
Besides your beauty.
You know, which I was younger then, thinner then, and I think that, you know, he wasn't necessarily attracted to me because if you would have met his wife, I think she was like a tennis champion or something. So I don't think it was the beauty, but I think it was more than anything the enthusiasm. I mean, I had a lot of enthusiasm, and when he was talking to me, I think I was looking at him like, oh my goodness, I want to work here. You know, I was just eager, and I just listened to him, and I think that says a lot. I mean, you're right. In the front desk of whether it's a school or a salon, we need people who are enthusiastic about what they do. You know, enthusiastic, because then they're going to be enthusiastic about the guests. And they're going to be enthusiastic about the coworkers. And they're going to be enthusiastic about having the chance to actually work. You know, because we know that when you hire someone that has an attitude of, you know, maybe, oh, more clients, or, oh, I haven't even eaten lunch, or, oh, this and that, you know, that's hard to change. But you hire somebody who has a lot of enthusiasm and maybe not a lot of skill, and you can show them skill. But enthusiasm and that eagerness to work and be part of something. I wanted to be part of something good. And I think that's where I connected, you know, and I went from receptionist to customer service, to sales manager, to marketing and sales. So, I mean, I really went through the steps, and it was always that, you know, it was always that, that eagerness that I maintained even till today. You know, I'm very enthusiastic. I'm very appreciative and enthusiastic of being with you guys. You guys have such a trajectory. I mean, just being here with you guys and knowing that a lot of people are going to see this, for me, it's amazing. It's amazing, and I'm very grateful.
Oh, and we're grateful to have you. And you know, I think you're so right that when you have enthusiasm, you have passion, it's contagious. So that can then follow through to the entire team in the salon. So it's like a win-win. I agree with you. That's what I would look for. What do you think, Joseph?
Well, I want to tag on to what she's talking about right now with her confidence, because one of the things I witnessed personally, which I was shocked over, was when you took the time to reach out to me knowing who I was, and you saw what I did here, certainly in the world that I was in with hair restoration. But what baffles me is a woman like you moves back home and is the right word adamant? Like you were bound and determined to bring to Lima several things. One of them in turn was what you left, which was the hair restoration. But you knew what I had back here and you kept calling and talking to me about the students. And how the heck did you ever, I mean, you bring me over to your country. I witnessed you basically being turned down, but your push to move forward was ridiculously contagious. And I need to know how you really felt about that, because it was like you were swimming upstream at a current that was coming at you at such high speed. And I go back to my hotel room and say, oh my God, I just saw her rejected 8 times today. But you know what? She is smiling. Tomorrow's coming. We're going to do this, Joseph. I don't know what to say. But
yes, you know what? Yes, Joseph, you're absolutely right. When I came back to Lima, Peru, of course, nobody knew who I was. I mean, not even as a salesperson or a marketing person or anything. You know, they didn't know who I was. And resistance, you know, it was definitely.
Go ahead. We were just
okay. Perfect. So
yes, for a few seconds.
Yes, thank you. When I came back to Peru, I experienced some resistance in regards to, you know, who I was and what I was going to do. And, you know, there was already like a community here of people that were educating. So it was kind of like, you know, I was like the third wheel, okay, or the outsider. But I had witnessed, you know, well, first, you know, when you are a fighter, because you had to fight against a lot of things growing up, just surviving. You know, that's why I always say victims of sexual abuse or physical abuse and all that, you know, they have something really special because we survived it, you know? So when you have that already, and then I come here and I encounter that, for me, it was not anything that was going to stop me. It was just something that they needed to be convinced. They needed to see. They needed to understand. They needed to get to know me and my motive. So, you know, when I came here and I started speaking with you, because, you know, throughout the years, I knew of your work and everything, I thought if I could bring that kind of enthusiasm, that level of education, because we're talking about like 10 years ago, you know, that commitment and that development, that professional development to Peru, that would just enhance the entire industry. And it did, you know, it did. And I just believed in that so much. And I believe in the fact that the people here in Peru, my people here in Peru, deserve to have a look and experience of what there is in other countries, you know? So that I was determined by that. There was nothing that was going to stop me. It was more important than the money and the bottom line. The most important thing was bringing innovation, educate, high quality education, and just take them to the next level. I knew that if I could do that, then everything else would become easier.
Cool. And boy, to witness that, Chris,
yeah, I'm sure.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure it was mind-blowing.
And before we end, you need to tell Chris and I about the way you did the Superman thing. You went into the telephone booth and completely changed yourself before you entered into a salon. So Chris can ask the next question because we have to be fair, but that story goes without, that can motivate someone out of a really bad day.
Okay.
And you know, yes. Lance is trying to get on here, and I know he would just love to see you. So go ahead. I'm going to let Chris ask you a question. Please don't be distracted, but I got to send him the link right now. Okay.
Okay.
Oh. Julia, what do your children think of your story?
Well, my children, when I tell them my stories, because you can imagine, sometimes I sit around the table and we talk about a little bit of details of my days when I was younger and my days where I was in the gangs and stuff, and they just crack up. I mean, first of all, my kids are amazing, amazing. And they just look at me and go, are you serious, Mom? I mean, you can't even believe it. You know, it's so different, your life from now. So sometimes they think I make it up, you know, except I have tattoos and except there's a lot of evidence. So they say, oh my goodness, you know, but now you're so cute, Mom. You're so cute, you know? And I'm just like, yes, I am. And they just are wonderful. You know, they're just wonderful. My whole family is very supportive, and the community here is very supportive. I mean, it's, you know, it's been 10 years since I've been here, and they're just really wonderful people. So, you know, when you can turn something that is so negative and so ugly into something so beautiful, which is, you know, freedom, you know, which is freedom, which is, you know, I think went blank, right? Are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So, you know, when we can enjoy this kind of change together as a family, it's a big testimony to them, you know, so they're very happy for me.
Yeah. Oh, I have no doubt you must blow them away when they, and the older that they get, the more they're going to understand and realize what you have achieved beyond all odds. Oh, I'm so proud to know you. It's amazing.
I know.
So now tell us this Superman story.
Yes.
Yes. The Superman story is something that I think a lot of us experience, to be honest with you. I mean, the Superman story is, you know, just completely shedding out, you know, your fear, your, you know, whatever it is you are wearing, whatever it is you're thinking, whatever it is that scares you, and just turning into the person you need to be for yourself, for your family, for your community, for everybody. But specifically, sometimes it's actually physical, like I said, you know, it's a physical thing. And for me, when I came back to Peru, you know, I struggled at first. And basically what I did is I said, I'm going to go and visit all the salons because that's what I know and that's what I love. And I'm going to offer them, you know, some management of their social media designs and websites and everything. And that's kind of how I'm going to get myself in the door to see how things work here, you know? So basically the Superman story is I would borrow, you know, pieces of clothing, purse, shoes, whatever I needed to do to look decent. And I would go to the salon. I would go to a gas station because I would be coming from a town that wasn't, let's say, you know, Beverly Hills. And to say the least, and I would go into the gas station, change my clothes, put on everything borrowed because I couldn't come dressed like that from where I was, and then go in and walk into a salon as a completely changed person, you know. And after I did my rounds, I would put all my stuff back in the bags and start giving back everything to the people that let me borrow it. So, you know, in essence, somebody might say, I don't have the shoes, I don't have the purse, I don't have the hair, I don't have this, I don't have that. You know, you don't have to have it. You could just borrow it. You could just borrow it until you can afford it. You know, we can't wait till everything is perfect and all the wounds are healed and all that. We can't wait until everything is just absolutely perfect because life will go past us. Years go by, days go by. So I just borrowed it. I borrowed it until I was able to buy it, you know, and that's what Joseph's talking about. That's the Superman change in the gas station.
Yes, and I want to say, Chris, when I heard this story to begin with, I got it because I was in the surrounding. I met the woman that owned the salon she went into that was Beverly Hills. And she was a very, oh my God, she was your atypical, very well-known hairdresser that had this amazing salon that I'm proud to say that I got to meet very well. But you hear this story, and when she first took me into that salon lit up. When this woman walked into that salon, it was Julia. And however she took herself out of the Superman and eventually really allowed them to see who she was, the support she had from this salon was, to me, what I saw as the beginning to her career in Lima, to where she is now, which
Amazing.
amazing.
So, totally. So, Julia, would you say that there is nothing, no excuse, no situation, nothing that should stop us being who we want to be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing. I mean, we have to be very careful who we surround ourselves with. That is very important. You can't, because life is hard as it is. And then you surround yourself with people that gossip or are negative or look at your every little thing, bad thing that you have, because we all have things that are not perfect. And they want to amplify on them. So I always say, and I tell my kids also, and my students as well, be careful with who you surround yourself with. You got to surround yourself with people that build you up, that hug you, that encourage you, and that are going to give you wisdom. And for me, I was very fortunate because, as Joseph said, Lance Intefanti, who entered the room, thank you for being here, Jan. He was my boss for many years. And I mean, Lance knew everything about me, everything. I had told him everything, and he laughed and he said, "It sounds like you're from Italy, from the Italian mafia." I guess he was trying to relate, the gangs in LA with what he knew. And I said, "Were you in the Italian mafia?" And he said no. But he was very respectful. He knew everything about me, because I've never been shy to tell people, because I think it needs to be said. And he was just so respectful and so encouraging, and just gave me the opportunity every chance. And so that helped me. So I would say to you, yes, we need to move forward, and no, there is nothing that can stop us if we are adamant, and we are persistent, and we are careful with who we surround ourselves with. And always have mentors in your life, always have mentors in your life.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
So on that note, Julia, what is the most important lesson that your life has taught you? You kind of answered that already 20 times over, but I don't know if I want more.
I guess the most important lesson for me is, it doesn't matter where you are. Because I know that there's people that are going to watch this maybe in England, and there's areas in England that are not such beautiful areas. The same thing with the United States, same thing in South America. I mean, every single part of the world has poverty, has crime, and has issues. And so, we're born where we're born. We can't help where we're born, and we need to understand that there's more than just that in our world. It's not just your city, your hood, your area. There's more, and there's a lot of opportunities. And so, I would say that that's one of the most important things that I learned as a person growing up and being in the beauty business and everything. I learned that there is so much more than just your immediate life. And if we could just kind of get out of that box, and that's why I love the hair shows and the beauty shows and the seminars and the classrooms. I love those places, because a student or an artist or hairdresser, makeup artist sits there, and they get to experience their future. They experience their future in the classroom. The teacher standing there, she's got experience. She knows more than I do. That's my future. That's where I want to go. And if we can see outside of where we are, then we have at least a path that we want to go to. But if we live every day thinking about what my mom did, why couldn't my dad have loved me? Why didn't I have money? Why did I mess up on the sale of my house? Why did I let this person rob me? Why did I marry this person? Just all kinds of stuff. If we just focus on that, we can't focus on the path towards the future, which is what I always thought about. When I knew I had to come back to Lima, many people said, "Aren't you scared? I mean, you haven't been there since you were 8 years old. How do you feel? Are you going to try to get back to the United States as soon as possible? You're going to lose everything." And I was excited about coming to Peru. I said, if God is allowing me to come back to Peru, it's for a reason. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen. So, I mean, many people may think I'm crazy. Some people say I'm crazy, but I am not afraid of the unknown, let's say it like that, because I didn't know what was expecting in Peru, but I knew there was people, and I knew that there was probably a need. And if there's a need, then maybe I can help with that, and since I've been here, we've helped communities like in Manchay. There's a community in San Juan de Lurigancho, which is another community where there's a lot of poverty. And me and my kids, we go there and we help people. And my husband teaches them English. Will they ever use it? Who knows? But I tell them, maybe they will. Maybe they will be in another country 5 years from now. And remember that you took the time to teach them English when nobody believed them. So, I mean, it's that. You know what I mean? It's putting that into practice, I think.
Damn.
I know. What else could you say, Joseph?
You know what? I mean, do you feel like you're reading a book of empowerment, Chris?
I feel like I'm in the best documentary I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I mean, if you're really feeling like you're having a downer, get over it, right? Because you set out to open a school. You bothered me constantly on assistance, on Joseph. Tell me, like, I'm like, Julia, it's too hard. I mean, you just can't do it. I mean, there's so many things, but yet you did it. You did it. Yeah. I was so proud of you. How do you feel now that you took me to one school that wasn't really even a school? And when I asked to use the restroom, I looked up and I could see the sun. And it was like a one-room classroom.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you something. When I see the beauty that you have just created for your community, tell me a little bit about how you're feeling now with your goal. Do you feel like you've somewhat hit your goal having that academy?
Yes. When I came to Peru and I started doing the seminars, it fulfilled me to no end. I mean, I was so happy to bring amazing artists, and the people were thanking me and hugging me and loving me. But then I knew that I needed to provide something that was a little bit more long lasting to go with the shows, because the seminars end, the show ends, and people still go back to their routine, to their work. And there was young people that wanted to become hairstylists, and there wasn't too many options, like you said. So for me, and I'll say it again, the motivation is very important. For me, it was that. It was supplying that. It was bringing that. It was giving access to people, something that was more another grade, another level, And so for me, that was so important that I was like in the pursuit of that. Everything just happened. I mean, I now own 2 schools in Lima, and I have a staff, we're like 16 people, and they're amazing, amazing people. And they love me and I love them. And we teach international type of stuff. I mean, I bring in the Chris Thorby mannequin heads. We're not going to use the mannequins here. We're gonna go all out. So, bring Joseph Whitnick and just let's create. And I remember one of our shows was New York in Lima. And that's exactly what I wanted people to experience. Not just New York, there's so many different parts of the world, but bring it here because, in Peru, you can't just fly out. You can't just go to the you wake up and you say, I'm going to go to the United States. You can't. It's difficult. So a lot of us cannot travel outside. So I wanted to bring it in. And I wanted that so bad that it happened. So now we have 2 schools. We have styling, we have makeup. My daughter Jade, who's 18, is now a makeup artist, and she's teaching at the school, and she's amazing. And it's just been so much goodness that has come out of having the courage to continue, and the courage to also say to you, come, because that's always a risk when you bring someone and you pay and the hotel and the catering. I mean, that was a risk, and I didn't have much, but I said, I know it's going to work because people need it, you know, and it works, and it works. So that's what we have to do. We have to be courageous enough to move forward in the conviction that we have, you know, it's so important. I mean, so that's what I moved on. And now we're successful in Peru. We have created a brand. It's called the Beauty School. And we have classes online. We were the first school in Latin America with our online courses. I mean, everything. It's just every day trying to give the best to the people who trust me. That's how I think, that's what I think is the secret. And that's what I learned from my boss. I mean, my boss used to say, make them happy. Make your customers happy. When they're happy, you don't have to worry about anything. They are king. And you need to give them more than they expect. And I literally took that, and I think that was the success formula that has helped.
I think, again, I think you've answered the next question I'm going to ask you, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Sorry.
No, it's great. It's great because I feel that you're really giving us your everything, like what you've just been explaining that you do for the beauty school, that you've done for Peru, that you did in your previous jobs. You give so much more, Julia, than what is expected. And I think that's beautiful. But I'm going to ask you the question anyway. If you feel you've answered it, then just say, Chris, get over it or whatever. But what is the one trait that you have that you're proudest of?
I think it would have to be compassion. Compassion. Yep. I mean, I'm compassionate for our students who, you know, very, very, how can I say this? I'm compassionate for our students who struggle to pay, but they do. I'm compassionate for a country, and I'm going to get emotional.
That's okay.
You know, for a country that doesn't have access to a lot, and Joseph has witnessed it, you know, there's a lot of, we lack a lot. So I'm very compassionate for that. I am compassionate for my teachers, you know, who teach for me, because I know that they desire to have a house and a car and go on vacation. And, you know, I'm passionate for that. And I'm passionate for my family, for my kids and my husband, you know, so that's, I mean, compassion would be because I'm very compassionate and passionate about just fulfilling other people's desires, you know, without becoming someone that is just interested in what they want and not what I want, because I don't want to sound like that, but just understanding what their desires are. And then that helps me to connect with them. You know, I mean, even in our advertisement, the ideas that I have for advertisement and the way we do our advertisement and the way we do when new people come to see the school and everything, people sometimes cry and they say, when I see you, I'm just connected. You get it. You understand. They just are besides themselves about the treatment that they get, the respect that they get. You know, and I just love that. I love fulfilling that part, you know, and notice I don't get so emotional about what has happened to me. I get more emotional about fulfilling, you know, other people's desire to succeed. You know, that is very important for me.
And it shows with every word that you say, it shows that, you know, you don't look at yourself and think, poor me. You're like, what can I do for you? Oh, God bless you.
And that's what got me here. And that's what got me here, though. And I teach this to everybody that wants to listen to me. You know, I say, iConixxx is a platform of artists who have a tremendous trajectory. And they are, you know, the people in iConixxx, the team in iConixxx want the other icons who have years of experience, platform, brands, schools, everything, you name it. They want them to be heard. What am I doing there? You know, what am I doing there? Facilitating. I'm there helping. Whatever you need, I'll do. You want me to do this? I'll do it. Is this okay? I'll change it. With that attitude, now, today, I'm being interviewed. I mean, that's what it takes. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not willing to do that work. And I think that that's the problem for a lot of people is they want to go in it and think, what's in it for me? How many times are you going to mention me? Is my school going to be mentioned? Is my logo going to be shown? You know, and even if they don't have, you know, years of experience, they expect that a lot. And so I think that that is not the secret formula. The secret formula is saying, I want to be part, I want to put the shoulder in, I want to help. What can I do? And then eventually, naturally, you know, if you're surrounded with good people, obviously, the opportunity will come. And that's how it is. Don't you guys agree?
Oh,
yes.
100%. 100%.
Yes.
I think I rose to the top because I was willing to clean the toilets. You know, it's whatever it takes. And we're all in it together. To me, and this is what I love about iConixxx. And thank you, Julia, for being such an integral part of iConixxx, along with Cassie Boyd also, is that there are no egos on our platform, because we call these people that we interview the icons in the industry, but they get approached because of their attitudes. And attitude is everything, because you know, we see enough egos going on in politics and goodness knows Oh, you're just such a special lady.
You are. You know,
down to Lima to meet you in person, because I feel like, you know, you're my best friend already.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get her to do a class for your students, Julia.
Of course. I'll be. I won't be traveling with tools, so I'll just have to borrow everything. But of course, I'll do anything for you. Anything.
Yes, to inspire.
Yeah, sure. And on my way down to the jungle, where I'll be for a month. What do you wish that you could have learned sooner than you did?
What do I wish I would have learned sooner? To value myself, probably. You know, I got myself involved in situations, not just a gang, but just situations, because I didn't value myself. So I think that if I valued myself more sooner, I would have saved myself a lot of headaches and a lot of things. But that's what I would have wished I would have learned sooner, you know, just to love me and accept me and value me.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful answer. I want to know, what is the next firecracker you're about to light? What's going on?
Right now, we are just finishing up the recordings for the online platform, so that that people can take, you know, their whole hair career and makeup career online, with some classes also live here at the school, but giving them that option. And I think it's going to work out really well, because during the pandemic, we were doing lives like every day. We've been doing publicity. We've been doing open house and all kinds of stuff, all kinds of crazy stuff that have been working really well for us. And so there's been a lot of interest. And one of the things that I'm very proud of is we raised the bar. You know, we helped to raise the bar in the community with what it is to be a makeup artist, what it is to be a hairdresser. Because, you know, you can imagine that, well, in a lot of Latin American countries, hairstylist is not respected as in other countries. And so it's kind of looked upon as a hobby. So, you know, we've done a lot of advertising and a lot of videos and social media and everything, trying to show people the beauty of the industry. And there's been a lot of interest. So now we are just finishing up our platform, online platform, where people will be able to log in with the password and just take their classes. And for us, it's huge. So it would be the first one in Latin America. So I'm very, very happy about that.
Stunning.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Brilliant.
Because Peru is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone can afford the tuition to be in Lima and then to live in Lima while they're getting there. How long are your courses at the school?
We have programs that are like a week program, depending like if somebody is already a makeup artist or a hairdresser, they just want to, you know, fine tune their techniques depending on what. But we have an actual career that is 8 months in makeup and 9 months in hair.
Perfect.
That's incredible. So if I was living on the other side of Peru, I would need to stay somewhere. So it gets so challenging, doesn't it, with the finances and things. So do you help people make that happen as well?
Yes, we do. We do. I mean, we give grants ourselves because the government doesn't help us because they don't see the cosmetology or makeup careers as careers. So they don't help anybody. If somebody wants to go to hair school, makeup school, they don't help them at all. So we give grants. There's people that sponsor other people. You know, I've also started that. You know, if you are well off and you want to help someone, pay for their career, you know, or help them pay for their tools. And we've been moving that also. So, I mean, that's the best way now. But I am working the advice of Joseph that said, you got to get to the government and find out how you can give them government assistance. So I'm working on that as well with the government. And there's a lot of red tape, but you know, that's my goal. My goal is that people who want to go to school for cosmetology or makeup artists can do it, that the money is not a problem, you know? So that's what we're doing now. That's what I'm working on.
Excuse me. And if anyone can do it, Julia Anderson can get that to happen. She's going to be
yes, I will just get into I'll just get into the bathroom and change my gear.
Yeah, I think you should become president.
I think you should be the government.
Yeah.
And you know what comes to my mind, as you said before, you could be listened to people in Italy, England, South America, you know, anywhere. And if someone felt, excuse me, that they wanted to assist by giving money to help you, how would they get a hold of you? In what way could they get a hold of you that, you know, we could actually allow them to assist in that?
Yes, well, Instagram, the Beauty School Peru, you know, that's where you can find us and just message. And yeah, everything is helpful. Like I said, my goal is to help the people here, and everything else.
But wait. What I also want to interject is, I know male is touchy. Is male, like the male, still touchy?
You mean like physical mail?
Like if I want to send you a check, you don't always know if you're going to get it.
Yeah, no.
Or if someone wanted to send you a check, excuse me, I know that many times I wanted to reach out, Chris, and send Julia a trinket of thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
and
did
she would say, don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Like he did once when he came to Peru, and he brought my girls a suitcase full of Pop-Tarts. Because my girls had been in Peru for like 4 years and they absolutely love the Pop-Tarts. So you can't imagine how beautiful that moment was. I was crying. Remember, Joseph?
I do remember, because you had I think you and Ed had a request too. And Joy went out to the grocery store. She didn't just get one Kit Kat. She got like several boxes full of Kit Kats for you guys.
Oh.
And the kids got Pop-Tarts, right? Because I said, well, bring the kids. She goes, well, they love Pop-Tarts and they just can't get them here. I'm like, Pop-Tarts? So yes,
that's
I did.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing. So you need to give me a list, Julia, as well, for when we come down.
Thank you, darling.
If all is good with, you know, the pandemic and everything, we will see you, we will meet, and I will hug you.
Yes, we got a
Absolutely.
hug.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. Well, you know,
Wow.
Julia, it's an honor to know you. And it's a great honor to have you here and to have your story documented. I think it is going to give a lot of people hope and inspiration and encouragement to get out of their own way, to do things that sound impossible. But if you just go in with the right attitude, like Julia Anderson's attitude, then anything is possible, right, Joseph? I mean,
yeah, man, you know, and she continues. I can feel it. I can feel it strongly. I personally cannot find a way to say how thankful that I am for you to come on and share the story that you have shared with me when I first met you. And I was freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, no, don't even tell me. She goes, no, I'm serious. And then she'd pull up her sleeve. See that tattoo? I'm like, okay, then. So,
let's see it. Let's see the tattoo.
I
have it in the back of my neck. I couldn't show.
Oh, okay. All right.
But if I remember correctly, it was kind of also like a tag, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like a gang tag. And
yes, it's a gang initials.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I'm glad that you are where you are right now. Thank you so much for being involved with iConixxx. And
thank you, guys.
I am just thankful that you were able to share that story. And I know that there will be students, stylists that will watch this, because if they are having a bad day, get over it, right? And what you have set out to achieve, this is what everyone needs to know. You know, what she sets out to achieve, she achieves.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. I've seen it. So great woman, amazing husband. No.
There is no excuse.
No.
So, you know, the best compliment that I can get is, you know, when I hear my kids say, oh, if my mom says she's gonna do it, she's gonna do it. Trust me. You know, to me, that's gold, because and what you guys are saying now also encourages me. It's like fuel to what I'm doing, because everybody struggles every day. You know, whether you're looking at your bank account and there's not the money that you need to cover your rent, or you have a bad relationship, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, every day can be a struggle, but every day we have to win. At the end of the day, we have to win, because there's so much to do. There's so much to give. So I look forward to it. I look forward to everything. Thank you guys so much for the love that you transmit, the love and the respect. That is huge.
I would like to thank you too. And I'd like to remind the viewer that there are many more icons and documentaries that sit next to Julia's in the YouTube iConixxx Live. And this particular one is a highlight, really. Yeah. And I want to thank you.
We have 40, with Julia's, we have 45.
Holy Toledo! That's a lot of popcorn.
45. And we started over a year ago, and it was originally to support the stylists in our industry and to give them hope, because we were all going into this major lockdown globally. And here we are. We're all opening up, but we're still carrying on with iConixxx. So thank you. Tune in and give us some love.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Julia. You behave. Everyone that is in the chat room, please stay where you are. Don't leave the room. As I end this recording, I want to say, Julia, take care of yourself. Keep Chris and I abreast with what's going on as you two are, going to soon be seeing the lighter side of things. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you and stay tuned. And yeah, Chris,
Thank you.
I'll see you on the
week.
next documentary.
Absolutely. And thanks again, Julia. We love you, and we'll see you next week because you are with us in iConixxx, which is wonderful.